At graduation, we have a committee of seniors to select the university's commencement speaker. So it is my privilege to invite the chair of this committee, Louis Chavon, who will introduce this year's commencement speaker.
Hi. Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Lowe. My name is Louis Chavon, and I'm a member of this year's Senior Class Council. It is my honor to introduce this evening's commencement speaker, Mrs. Eun Yang. We are so pleased to have such an esteemed speaker with a deep connection to this university and to our lives as graduates. Born in South Korea, Ms. Yang received her degree from the Philip Merrill College of Journalism here at the University of Maryland, where she now serves on the Board of Visitors. Ms. Yang started her broadcast media career here on campus while working on the student TV newscast Maryland Update, which is now known as Maryland Newsline. In her time since graduation, she has worked as part of several DC region news teams, namely WUSA 9, which is a CBS affiliate, and she was one of the first correspondents for the National Geographic Channel. She joined NBC Washington News 4 in 2002, and she started anchoring weekends in 2004. As a result, Ms. Yang is a face and voice that is instantly recognizable to many in the audience this evening, and especially to us Terps, as Ms. Yang has reported some of the stories that have shaped our time as young adults. Through our past 4 years as students at the University of Maryland, Ms. Yang has shared with us both of President Obama's inaugurations, countless local and national stories, and one headline that we'll never forget from our student years, the snowpocalypse of 2009. In true Terp spirit, Ms. Yang's career has been marked by commitment and loyalty in addition to her vibrant success. Despite receiving offers to work in the New York City market, one of the biggest media markets in the world, Ms. Yang has elected to stay in the DC metro area. As anchor of News 4 Today on NBC Washington, Ms. Yang goes on air at 4:26 a.m. each day. I'll let that sink in how early that is. You all thought that waking up for an occasional 8 a.m. class was kind of difficult. Now here she is, Terps. I'm pleased and honored to welcome Ms. Eun Yang.
Louis, thank you so much. Checks in the mail. Good evening, President Lowe, faculty and staff, honored guests, family and friends, and graduates. I am so honored to be here at my beloved University of Maryland to speak at your commencement tonight. Congratulations! The honor is not lost on me. I love the streamers, I really do. They're so festive. Typically, when I'm at the Xfinity Center, I still want to call it Comcast. I'm actually sitting where you are, screaming at a basketball game, right? Which, by the way, I am planning to do next Saturday, so I prefer this order, so I'll have my voice for this. And I just want to take a moment to say how awesome it is that our Terps are ranked again for the first time in 5 years, right? Let's go! And I think that is the beauty of being a hometown girl, is that I get to be on campus all the time. I'm here for the Board of Visitors meetings, I'm here for games, I'm here for the ice cream at Maryland Dairy, let's be honest. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was invited to speak here is the proximity. No travel expenses, right? But really, this is such a great honor for me, especially because I was chosen by the students. I think that when I stand up here and President Lowe is talking about the accomplishments of the people standing up here, I mean, the provost's work I can't even pronounce. I don't even know what she does. It's so, and then there's an expert on the poetry of Emily Dickinson. I mean, I don't even think that I belong up here with these smart, esteemed, accomplished people, but here I am, and even my children are a little bit confused. They've heard that Cal Ripken spoke at Spring. Like, why would they choose you? Cal Ripken Jr. was here? I am surprised as well. I'm not the... They're over there. I'm not the visionary behind a technological gadget that has revolutionized the way we communicate and really do everything. I am not the top executive and author of a mantra for women on how to overcome gender imbalance in the workplace. I am not the creator of appointment TV shows, which have turned into huge weekly social media events. I myself have yet to watch an episode of Scandal. But I do consider, I know, I've got to get on it. Remember the 4:26 a.m.? That's why I don't watch TV. But I do like to think that my newscast is must-see TV. So you should watch. Thank you. I don't even have my own YouTube station. But here I am, your speaker tonight. When Louis explained that I was chosen, he said, in part because I'm someone who speaks to a large audience for a living, which is true. But my typical viewers are watching from home. They are brushing their teeth. They are drinking their coffee. They are running on the treadmill. I can't see them. And I can hide behind my camera and my lens so that I don't have to see whether or not they're really laughing at my jokes or they're scratching their heads in utter confusion as to what I'm saying. Here, I don't even have a teleprompter, for goodness sake. I mean, how am I supposed to move on? But I'm going to do my best here. There is a lot of pressure for me to share some words of wisdom and inspiration with the graduating class, to prove to the parents that your hard-earned tuition money was well spent. And I have no tougher critics than my 3 young children over there. Wave, guys. My son, my oldest son, did say, "Break a leg, mommy." So thanks for that. At least my husband will laugh at my jokes, though. So much has changed since I was at the University of Maryland. When I was a freshman here, you could walk into Cole Fieldhouse with your student ID and get a ticket to any game, any game. Then Joe Smith arrived, and you had to wait in long lines to get a ticket. And if we were playing Duke, you had to skip classes and wait all day. Not that I would skip classes, guys, ever. No. Maryland basketball has grown so much, and it is so huge, and I love to see the students who organize at the games with their spirit and their love for the school, not just for sports, but for the academics and for the relationships and the community that is built here at this wonderful school. The way we have communicated has changed. Who would have thought the president of the university would be taking selfies at graduation? I mean, really, he was going down the aisle high-fiving the graduates. I love to see it. I mean, the way we communicate. My speech is currently being streamed live. It is going to be shown on the University of Maryland's television station. I know you all are tweeting because I've already have a tweet from Joyce Coe. Where are you, Joyce? I know you're out there. You tweeted me, first tweet I got tonight. And I know that you've taken obligatory selfies yourself, and Instagram is blowing up. I'm hoping that we get a trend out there. Let's get the University of Maryland trending, create a hashtag, let's do it. And that's what happens now. When I was here, though, I was just getting the hang of email. True story. I remember one of my classmates from journalism school asked me out via email. This was the first time this has ever happened to me. And texting didn't exist, as you know. I didn't have a cell phone. And so by the time I got back into the computer lab to check my email, he'd lost interest. So, as you can imagine, didn't date much here at school. And it didn't matter anyway because, at least that's what I told myself, because I was singularly focused on trying to do everything I could to get a job in TV news. I wanted to be a TV reporter. But I will say that one thing that hasn't changed, besides Bentley's, is that, thank you, and I think it will never change, is the value of hard work. Really, I can't emphasize enough the importance and the value of hard work. It comes from my family, from my roots. If you want to achieve your goals, you have to work harder and you have to work smarter than the next person. You will get ahead if you are prepared. Make your work ethic a priority. I spent a lot of time in the journalism building, and now you have the beautiful Night Hall, so shiny and pretty, but in my day it was just a brick building, said journalism, that was it. But this is where I holed up, working on my resume tape. This is where I also saw a flyer for the internship that I landed, which eventually landed me the job that I have now, a flyer. It's a piece of paper. They stapled it to the bulletin board. Ask your parents. You'll get it. It's a flyer. Anyway, so when I finally landed that internship, it was my one and only one. I made an effort to learn everything I could because I said I really, really wanted a job out of college. I'm sure You smart kids probably have some jobs lined up already out there. I know some of you. But I followed reporters around the newsroom. I pretty much stalked them. I asked them questions driving in the back of the crew cars. If they allowed me, I sat next to them at their desk to find out what it is they really do to get their work done. I sat in the editing booths. I logged tons and tons of video, anything I could do so I wouldn't have to sit and answer the phones at work. My best move, though, I think, was making friends with the production assistants. These are entry-level workers who did everything and anything they needed to get the news on the air. And they were nice enough, some of them anyway, were nice enough to teach me how to do their job so that when a production assistant job opened up at the station, I saw my ticket into the business. I'd basically trained for the job already, so instead of a job after college, I took a job while I was in college. Seemed really crazy at the time, probably still is crazy. So here I was, a senior, trying to graduate, taking classes at 8 a.m., and then hightailing it from College Park to Northwest Washington to work until 11:30 p.m. Don't ask me how I studied for class. I did. I made it. But when I got to work, the producers would yell at me. I mean, literally yell at me, "Do you know what you're doing?" And a lot of times, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I should also mention that this job paid between $7 and $8 an hour. Yes. And while I had the designs of working on some hard-hitting news stories, instead I rolled the teleprompter and I ripped scripts. Now, we had to do this back in the day. Now we have separate printers that print scripts on the different colored papers that all you have to do is take the scripts and bring them to different people who are part of the news team. But back in the day, this is what I tell the PAs, they have it so easy. We had, all the paper was printed in one, like, accordion, all the colors, accordion bundle. And it was my job then to rip the scripts, rip them, and collate them. It was literally death by 1,000 paper cuts. One time I had to get dry ice for the Weather Center for Halloween to make it spooky. And one time I think I had to pick up dry cleaning. So obviously this was not the job in broadcast I had in mind for myself, but I really had no choice but to get after it because I knew that I wanted to move forward. I knew I wanted to get that next job. And you have to work your butt off, and you can't be above taking those lesser jobs in order to get to the greater ones. Those entry-level positions are the stepping stones that will prepare you for the bigger and better jobs out there if you are willing to work hard. They will give you and they will offer you the fortitude and the perseverance to put you on the right path for your career and for your life. In order to get your dream job, you have to be willing to do some nightmarish work along the way. I put in a lot of extra work. Put the Band-Aids on my fingers, seized every opportunity to practice my stand-ups, to improve my writing, learn how to produce stories. I was a production assistant for 1 year, just 1 year, and then I was selected to be a reporter trainee, and then I did that for just another 1 year before I was hired to be a reporter. I was doing my first live report in Washington, D.C. I wish I could tell you that I was an instant star, that I had it from the start of my career, and that all the TV executives instantly recognized my on-camera presence and my charisma right away, and they all fought to put me on the anchor desk. No. The truth is I kind of sucked when I started. No, you can't say that word at home, guys. I made a lot of mistakes, and mercifully there was no YouTube to record my bloopers in perpetuity back then, thank goodness. But this is why, though, I believe that hard work trumps talent. I want to tell you about one of the first breaking news stories that I did as a budding reporter. It was about a missing 3-year-old boy. He was eventually found safe. But I will never forget this child's name, not because the story left such an impression on me. Remember, I wasn't much older than you guys are now, and I wasn't a mom yet. Missing toddler headlines have whole new meaning for me now, of course. But the boy's name was Lamar Arnold, and he happened to disappear during an election season. And during this time, Senator Lamar Alexander was running to be the Republican nominee for president. So can you guess what I did on live television? Yes, in my live report, I kept referring to 3-year-old missing Lamar Alexander. Again and again and again. It was a simple error, right? Arnold, they both even start with A. Oh. But it was a glaring one. And it was one that taught me early on that I would have to work hard at every point in my career. I'd finally landed this job that I wanted on the air in Washington, D.C., but my work was just beginning. I've come a long way since that live report on Lamar Arnold. I have made many mistakes in between, still make mistakes, and I know I will continue to make mistakes. I don't expect that I will call anyone by the wrong name, knock on wood. This happens to be wood. Thank you very much. But I'm still working hard to become a better journalist, a better storyteller, a better communicator every morning for every show and for every story. I know that I can do better. There's always room for improvement and space to do more with what you have. Your career will be better for it, and so will the journey that gets you there. As you can see from my own experience, just because you have the passion to do something doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at it right away. Remember, again, hard work trumps talent. Build your talent, develop it, hone it through hard work. I mean, really, because besides Beyonce, who's born a star? Maybe Brian Williams, but that's, I have a thing for Brian Williams on NBC. So in these next years, while you are building your work experience and considering your career paths, don't forget to work on your character. That is my next very important point. We know you're all smart. We all know that you're resourceful. We know that you are marketable. You are from Maryland. Yeah. But don't, and I love this, they're keeping my kids entertained, but remember, don't be a jerk. Really, don't be a jerk. Remember to be kind. And I say this not just because you'll learn that this world is indeed small, and maybe your intern one day will become your boss the next. But I encourage you to be introspective and to have gratitude and to give back and to check yourself so that you can become the best version of yourself possible. I love my job for so many reasons, but when people ask me why I wanted to pursue journalism, I always go back to the storytelling, because I have the great pleasure of hearing compelling stories from people from all walks of life, Jimmy Fallon, and share them with others and maybe improve their lives in the process. But the interview that has stayed with me over the years was with a woman who was not famous, but extraordinary in her own right for not what she accomplished, but for more because of what she taught me about her character. At the age of 80, she received her degree from Gallaudet University, and she spoke to me through sign language, a sign language interpreter. But she spoke to me so freely that I really didn't feel like we had any boundaries between us. And she was so open, and I could really read the joy and in her eyes and in her face. She told me that when she graduated from high school, her teachers told her she was one of the smartest kids in the school. But at the time, Gallaudet was the only college for deaf students, and it would not admit African Americans. She was crushed. She went to work on a farm instead. More than 60 years later, she received her diploma. And I was fortunate enough to sit down with her that day to talk to her and hear her story. I asked her if she felt any anger or bitterness for the years that she could have spent learning in the classroom instead of working, or for what she could have pursued if she had gone to college at an earlier age. She told me that she worked to let go of the hurt and sadness so that she could live her life fully without anything holding her back. It didn't happen right away. She was 80 after all, she told me. But instead of anger and fear and bitterness and regret, she chose gratitude. She chose love and selflessness and joy. She didn't go to college, so she helped children in her small town with their schoolwork and encouraged them to go to college. She derived her gratitude and joy from serving others. The decades between her high school graduation and her eventual college graduation were sweet, she said, sweet. Not because she accumulated wealth or status, but because she cultivated experiences and relationships. She told me that receiving her diploma was just the cherry on top of a good life she had already lived. I could see that she was truly happy that day. She was so beautiful. I always hoped that I could achieve that kind of inner light that would make me beam like she did that day. I wish that for you as well, to live a life full of gratitude and joy and to share that fulfillment with those around you. In the next leg of your journey, work hard. Get after that good life. Work hard in every endeavor and work hard to build your character. Your life's outcome will be determined by what you put into it. And I am confident that as University of Maryland graduates, your hard work will produce meaningful results. Thank you so much, and congratulations. Now we're going to take a selfie. I love it. Are we gonna take a picture?
I think that's next.
So we're going to take a picture first. We said we'd take a selfie. You can
Yes,
come on,
absolutely.
Louis. Didn't happen if we didn't take a picture.
Cool. Thank you, Eun.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Ms. Yang, for that inspiring and entertaining address, even without a teleprompter. That's very impressive. You know, that was so good, in fact, I may actually set my alarm for 4:15 on Monday morning to catch when you come on the air. Actually, I just finished final exams, and you all can relate, so I doubt that's going to happen. But to help you to remember this occasion, I would like to present you to you with a gift on behalf of the graduating class.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for that wonderful address. Would you like to share what the gift is?
Oh, sure. Okay.
I'd like to know.
Christmas early. You're like my kids. I can see my kids.
Yes.
Like, open it. Ooh.
Oh, wow, that's neat.
Do you know red is my favorite color?
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you again for a wonderful commencement speech.